Santa Hill?
It does.
It does, yeah. Cool. All right, that's enough fun. You guys look like you're having fun. Yeah, that's cool. It's cool to have fun when you're at a design event. Who's first time Creative Mornings? First timers? Yeah, Gold Coasters? Awesome. It's cool to have something down here. Thank you very much for putting this on, JC and team. Our boy Henry down the front from Sao Paulo. Give it up for him. And all the boys from Brazil and Chile as well. Very, very cool. Very honoured to speak tonight, and it's actually a difficult topic. I was like, what the heck is Beyond? What is that all about? I'll go into that a little bit more. But tonight is actually a really cool night. Beyond, actually, a couple of things. Don't worry about this just yet, even though you're going to read it now. It's up there and I pointed to it. But tonight there's a lot of things that I want to celebrate because it's actually more than just you and I being here. There's so much more going on in the room. But this is what I thought. To look beyond, sometimes we need to look back. Only sometimes. I don't agree with looking back all the time because you get stuck in that spot. But I think sometimes it's good to look back. And so tonight I want to celebrate a few of the firsts. Now, thank you, Michael, or JC, or whoever it was that pretty much has robbed me of all of my content for tonight. Even that ladder video, if you want to know my process for design, that's it. Like, seriously, that guy has nailed it. And he's not showing his face, which I don't know why that is. But some of the firsts, tonight is the first birthday, we all know that, Creative Mornings Brisbane. But it's also the first Creative Mornings Brisbane evening. Not only that, it is the first Creative Mornings Brisbane Gold Coast evening. Are you staying with me? It's getting complex now. It's like a maths equation. It's the first Creative Mornings Brisbane Gold Coast evening with a Sri Lankan speaker. And if you don't, that is me. So, wasn't born there, half Sri Lankan, my dad's side, born here, and very, very thankful to live in this country and very honoured to speak tonight. Now, I haven't worked out how I was going to do this yet. I've got a clicker in one hand, notes in the other, and a mic, and I don't have a third hand. I need to be someone off Toy Story to do that sort of thing. But this whole thing was started from somebody's beyond. And that woman is JC, Jacinta, if you haven't quite met her yet. So tonight, it's more than just us being here. It's actually more special than that. And I'm going to show you a couple of things. Disclaimer, I'm nobody special. I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. In my design world, if that's what you're here for and you do know me, I'm sorry. You know, I don't do it perfectly. And but tonight, hopefully there's one thing you could take away. I hope you haven't put all your cards on, you know, changing your life around because it might not happen tonight. So that's just my disclaimer. Don't put too much weight on me because I'll probably fail you because that's what I do often. But we're going to have a bit of fun, and if I can read my notes, we'll go all right. So, JC, Jacinta. She's seen the slides, but she doesn't know what I'm going to talk about because I hid a lot of this from her. We met back last year in about July, we think it was, when we got a juice together down here on the Gold Coast. She came down, and it was one of those awkward waiting for someone you've never met before, but it's not a date type events, where you're like, I'm waiting for this girl to come along, but she was actually there before me, so she was waiting for me. But it's not a date. But you know, who pays? What's the go? Anyway, it was real quick. It was real quick to understand how cool this girl is when we sat down. And very quickly into the conversation, she popped the question, and I was like, whoa. She popped the question. She's like, would you speak at CM Brisbane in April? And I was like, that's already gone, like it's July. And she's like, no, next year. And I was like, what the heck? I couldn't even think what I was doing on the weekend, let alone planning for April and the rest of this year. So I quickly found out that she was not only organised, but super determined, super persistent, and inspired by what she was doing and the people she was around. And that sort of energy is just, contagious. And so, of course, I agreed. And it was easy to see then that us being here tonight, it wasn't easy to see then, it's easy to see now that us being here tonight is more than us just getting our little creative fix and, taking something on board. It's actually the fulfillment of JC's dream. It's the fulfillment. You being here tonight is the fulfillment of her beyond. So I hope that we could be inspired by her tonight, because this party is pretty incredible, don't you think, what she's put together? We get to come here, get a free drink and free food, meet awesome people. So could we just give it up for her? Give it up for her. And she's a Kiwi as well, so she's crossed the ditch. Crossed the ditch here in 2014, okay? So there's more to go. There's more to come for you still. Crossed the ditch in 2014, New Year's Eve, and what a random time to move country. Must have really hated NZ. But she'd actually experienced her first Creative Mornings in 2013, and so this little dream that was bubbling away for her took a little while for it to come to fruition. And I asked her, when you first got here, you thought of could you do this here? And she's like, hell no. She's like, I'd love to, but she put that dream on the shelf for a while, and she thought that was way too big for her. It wasn't long after that, with her company Lululemon that she works for, she's not the owner, she works with them, she got put through a self-development course which she didn't think she'd get much out of. But it actually spurred her on to bring this dream back to life. So something that she wasn't expecting much, she thought, I'm just going to go through it because that's what we're all doing, and she actually got what we've got here tonight. So maybe you're not expecting much tonight, good, but you might walk away with something, which is really cool. And JC actually has her nana here as well, so could we give her a round of applause? Me, myself, I'm a bit of a stats guy, so I was like, JC, give me the numbers, give me. And she was like, what are you talking about? Now, they've already been discussed tonight. Thanks, Michael. Or Mike, as he loves to be called. So here's all the wins they've had over the last 12 months. Now, your numbers looked a bit different to me, and you said you're a bit of a perfectionist, so there's a bit of a discrepancy there. You might have to check on those. No, but you've seen all them, and obviously the free beers as well, which is super cool. But just to see the wins that you've had over 12 months, I'd love to hear about your challenges at some point, and maybe you need to schedule in a Creative Mornings for yourself to share. Wouldn't that be cool to hear from the girl that started this thing? So, if you don't know, it was her birthday on Monday, let alone it being this event's birthday. And I would love just to celebrate her for a moment. So we'd love to get you up the front, JC. Come up here. Like I said, it's not really about us.
Thanks, mate.
But we got you a little something. As in like a birthday present, because that's what friends do. Aww. And so, this is for you.
Do I open it?
Yeah, I reckon open that.
Oh my god, I'm scared. I'm so scared.
An avocado. Thanks.
From the whole team. Oh my god, love cake. What the heck?
She's always got the coolest kicks on. Yeah. So can we sing happy birthday to this beautiful girl? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. You're awesome. Happy birthday, dear JC. Happy birthday to you. Give it up for her. You're awesome. Do you want to say any words?
I will later.
Later. All right. She's going to get the mic time when it matters most. Right before dessert. All right. Now, I'm still figuring out how to do this clicker thing. So, here's the deal tonight. Here's the deal. I'm going to just share with you 5 challenges from Bowlesy. That's my nickname. If you want to be included into the family, just call me that. It's totally cool. I'm just going to share 5 quick things that have challenged me incredibly, and that has been a growing process over the last few years, and I want to challenge you guys with them. Is that cool? Some people are like, no. It's a Friday night. Thank you very much. My challenges have come and gone. But I'm going to challenge you guys, and I want to get through this fairly quickly because I believe the most important part of any presentation or event that I've been to is actually the Q&A, which I believe is question and application, not just answers. So I want you guys to be thinking, how is this relevant to you? Tonight's your chance to be selfish, absolutely selfish, because I want to see if at the end we can get some dialogue happening and really answer some of those challenges that you've been going through. Cool? Number 1. Where is it? Here we go. We need a clear vision. We need a clear vision with a bold why. We need a clear vision with a bold why. I asked JC what her vision was at the start of this whole thing, and she said didn't really know. She was just doing it. She was just going along. And it's like that for a lot of us. I know I've been there. I know you guys can relate. You've been there as well. But along the way, she started to figure out that why. And I said, what is it? What is it now? And she says it's the people. It's the people that get her up out of bed. She actually said to me, I want to do cool shit with cool people. And I thought, that was pretty cool. But we need a clear vision with a bold why. My question to you guys to ask yourself is, what do you really want? If you figure out what you want, what the end goal is, something underneath that has to be underlying, and that's the why. Now, you would have probably heard that shared by a lot of people, Simon Sinek, all sorts of people, but it's so important. If we don't stop to think about it or really build on what that why is, challenge will come our way, game over. No good. Number 2, we need to surround ourselves with the right people. Tonight, I want you guys to lean in a little bit, all right? Some of these might seem esoteric or, I don't mean them to be that way, and broad and on the macro level, but the importance of this stuff has founded who I am and has kept me going through the hard times, not when it's all good and things are rosy. So the right people, my mentor challenged me, who is your circle of influence? Who are the top 5 people that you're hanging around with constantly? And this is something that I constantly ask myself. Tonight I'd like to ask you guys, who are the top 5 people you're hanging out with? Is it people that you have to be around? Or is it people that you chose to be around? Is it your housemate who's, kicking back on the couch, during the week? Did you choose to be with them? It's you. No, you're not kicking back. You're hustling all day long. Maddie Haynes, the design conference. Anyone been to that? Yep, cool. If you haven't, it changed my world. It inspired me in the design realm phenomenally. So get along to that little plug. But who are those people? It's got nothing to do with me. I'm not reaping any benefit. You're the man. Who are the people? Honestly, who are the people? Start of this year, I jotted down who are the people that are around me. My brother's one of those. Is that a choice, or do I have to be around him? Sort of a bit of both. But are those people speaking into your world? Or are you speaking into theirs? Are you constantly draining them? Gimme. Or are they draining you? Is that circle just pulling from you all the time? Help me. What can you give me? What can you offer me? Or is it a real nice mix of both? Because I've figured that if there's not someone in front of me that's done the journey before me and gone before, how am I expected to if I'm just fumbling around, how am I meant to get to where I want to go, in the quickest possible time, in the most effective way? And we need people around us. So ask yourself, who's in your inner circle? Which 5 people do you spend the most time with? And are you choosing to be with those 5? Or is it just, is the world happening around you? To go beyond, we need to begin before. This one's a little bit weird, what the heck is that? I believe, and this is speaking from personal experience, that the way we start our day determines the way we finish. And so, whether you're a morning person or not, who's a morning person? Yeah? And then I guess the rest of you aren't. I didn't call myself a morning person, I still don't, but I force that into my world. I absolutely force it because I found it so crucial that the way I start my day determines the way I finish my day on so many accounts. Hey, you skipped something. Yeah, Thomas Jefferson. He said if you want to do something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. And we hear that sort of thing, rotated so many times today. You've got to do something you've never done to get what you've never had, right? If we don't stop and think, what am I doing over and over and over again that's really not giving me any benefit, that's really not helping me progress? So for me, it was my morning routine. And I've been on this journey for the last couple of years, but just this year I read a book called The Miracle Morning. If you haven't read that and this sort of thing's interesting you, I'd recommend you get it. 6 steps to change your life before 8 a.m. And some of you might be thinking, 8 a.m., no chance. A lot of us are up early. And recently as well, I'm not a scientist, so if there's any here, you could probably help me and back me up on this, but I've been really intrigued by the chemicals that are going off in our brain all the time while we sit here, while we drive, while we work, while we do what we do. And it was interesting to learn about this chemical or substance called ACH that's in our brain. Has anyone heard of ACH? Cool. Shoot me down if I'm speaking mistruth. But what it does is when we learn a certain pathway, all of our habits, everything that we do subconsciously that we can just do with our eyes closed, ACH forms and settles that in place, and it just sets that pathway up. What I learnt was that these pathways or habits, whatever you like to call them, whether good or bad, we can't actually unlearn them. We can't delete them. The only way that that pathway is to change, or that thing that we want to change in our life, is by overriding it, by actually rewriting that pathway. And it happens by another substance called GABA for short, which is gamma amino B acid, butyric acid. This substance happens when we actually meditate. And another word for meditate is mumbling. And I'm not going to speak about meditating per se, but mumbling and what our self-talk does for ourselves. So something in the morning, as simple as just speaking verbally, physically, into the atmosphere, what you want for the day. And this isn't the secret. This is rewriting tracks in our brain, because we can't unlearn stuff. We can't delete these pathways. We have to rewrite them if we want something to change. If we want to do something that we've never done before, if we want to excel, we have to change it ourselves. So that started ticking over in my head. I'm like, all right, I got to start saying this stuff, because when we find ourselves getting in a rut and you're lonely, what do? We come, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you close up. That's what I'm trying to say. You close up when we're in a problem. And if we don't start speaking where we intend to be or what we want over our life, it's just going to keep forming in our brain that same way. So my challenge to ask yourself, what are you speaking over your life daily? And what are you allowing others to speak over your life? Is that encouraging? What is the stuff we continually hear in our world? The stuff we can't avoid, like media, that's just hounding us. It might be the housemate. It might be your brother. What are those people speaking to you, and what are you choosing to allow into your brain? To go beyond, simple one, you have to do the work. Anyone heard of Gary Vee? Yeah, cool. I've been following him recently, and he talks about doing the work. None of this stuff is new. This isn't created stuff. I've just been following people that inspire me. You got to do the work. And that sounds, oh cool, Ryan, you got to do the work. But all the stuff I've just backed this up with, when it comes time and you're struggling, all of these things come to you doing the work. What excuses have you been making? What excuses have I been making? That's a challenging one, hey? No one likes to think about that. What have I been excusing myself of? And I better pick up my notes. We'll see where we are up to. My biggest realization of 2017, my biggest realization is that right now, as a 28-year-old, I have the most time and freedom in my life that I'll ever have in my entire existence on planet Earth. Who's in their 20s? Cool. This is what I realized. Not married, no kids, no mortgage. I've got time on my side. I've got resource on my side. I don't have all those responsibilities that weigh down. Now, if you do, that's cool. You just got to catch up. So I realized with all of that at my excess, I have to do the work. I got to put in the time. I'm not taking ski trips twice a year. You know, I'm not taking 4 days off over Easter, 4 days the next week, 4 days the week after that. I'm working. I hope this is striking a chord, because the way that we're being programmed right now is that we need all of this stuff that we continually see. We need all these holidays. We need that lifestyle that we see on Instagram that everybody has. We've got to do the work while we can. We've got to do the work while we can. Here we go. If you want more and want to go beyond, you have to get grateful. Anyone grateful to be here tonight, to be fed? Man, this thing is powerful. Gratitude in the last 2 years has saved me countless times. It saved me today. While I was working, going through a struggle, not wanting... I'm a freelancer, I work for myself, wanting just to pack it up, take Friday off. I had to get grateful instead of all the frustrations, instead of all the stuff that I have going on in my world, the stuff you have going on in your world. And if you know Tony Robbins, he talks about gratitude. And it cannot be in the same room as fear or anxiety or anger or frustration. They cannot coincide together. If you get grateful and truly grateful about something, if you get grateful for the bed that you slept in last night, or the water that we've been drinking all week, when 1.5 million Indians die every day because of water. You know, if we start to get grateful, truly grateful for the friendships that we've made tonight, you know, we cannot be angry, cannot be stressed in the same moment as that. And that has been rocket fuel, absolute rocket fuel to me. So as we enter the weekend, it'd be cool for you guys just to think about all the things that you've been grateful for, that you are grateful for. I'm sorry for those that came down from Brisbane today and you entered the overcast, windy weather of the Gold Coast, which is very rare. But do you know what I figured? I was like, man, this day isn't turning it on. It's really not. But as I parked up here in the light rain, this beautiful rainbow and this sunset just finished on the afternoon. And man, was I grateful. It made me realize, I actually learned something in that moment, that our day, our work day, our work week, or our family life can be overcast, it can be horrible all day. And you're like, no, this isn't getting any better. And right at the last second, the sun just sets and just casts a beautiful artwork over our city, you know? And so I really took that on. Ask yourself, what are 3 things right now? What are 3 things right now you can be grateful for?
Friends, family, and awesome times.
You have got an answer for everything. I love it. You look to be having a lot of awesome times recently on the gram. Anyone else like to just share one? What's something you're grateful for right now?
Just into Conza.
Amen. Nice. A place to stay on the Gold Coast so you don't have to drive home. That's something to be grateful for, even though it's an hour. No. Yeah, big time. Get grateful. Let's get grateful around our world. You know, being content, if we learn to be content with what we have, and that doesn't mean just staying at the same level that we are. I'm just meaning being content with what we have and being so blessed in this country. It'll make waves in where you want to go. I can promise you, because it's done that for me. Now, let's see. Cool. Now I skipped the part at the start. Michael sort of already spoiled it anyway, but just my journey for those of you who don't know me. Before I get into the Q&A, I graduated in 2006 from school, And I had no idea what I wanted to do. You know, there was all that pressure of teachers, blah, 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 blah. You got to go to uni, you got to do this, you got to be someone. I had no idea. So I just started working. I've worked jobs. I was a paper boy. I've packed boxes. I've poured cement. I've painted walls. I've renovated Bunnings. I've worked in Amart All Sports, General Pants. I was a product rep, trying to figure out what it is that I really wanted to do. And I thought, hey, I've always been sporty. Maybe this personal training thing that exploded 10 years ago, maybe that's the go. So I became a personal trainer for 2 years, which was awesome. I know you can tell. Until I broke my back. And I was not lifting weights. I was doing backflips on a trampoline. And one of them didn't come off so well out of all of them that I had done. Just one where I landed on my head on the trampoline, crushing my spine. And to preface that, I'm good at most things, okay? I'm sorry if this offends some people, but I'm a 9 out of 10 at most things. So I'm a jack of all trades. I'm a jack of all trades, but master of none really. And I highly doubt that from my experience. But I was speaking at another thing and someone said, "Have you failed?" And I'm like, yes. I was dumb enough to be doing backflips and I broke my back. Anyway, so it took me out of personal training. And I should have said all of this at the start just to give you some idea of who I am, who's this Sri Lankan talking to you guys on a Friday night. After that, I thought, okay, I'm not going to go back into PT. Maybe a PE teacher. Maybe that's got value in it. So after not wanting to go to uni my whole life, I'm like, how do I become a PE teacher? Got to go through uni. I was like, all right, I'll do this. Cool. 2 years into uni, they throw chemistry on the table. And I'm like, screw you guys. I didn't do chemistry in school. This is like a different language to me. I'm out of here. So dropped out of uni, which I think was mentioned. And during all of this time, I was like, man, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? We'd started a band in 2009, a metal band called Prepared Like a Bride. And I know, again, you're thinking like, what the heck is a Sri Lankan doing in a metal band? It just doesn't make sense. They drink Dilmah tea and eat curry. But I really enjoyed that. And I thought, maybe this is it. And it was. We pushed that and we were able to tour and do a whole bunch of cool stuff. During that process is where I picked up the business skill, dealing with people, the real life experience for me, which was my university in the real world. And during that, we needed merchandise and we needed tour posters. And who else but to do it but me with everything else that I was doing? So I was like, cool, open up my design studio. I wish I had it here, but you've all got it on your computer, Microsoft Word. And I was like, I'm going to lay down some design. And I used Impact Bold as the font and drew some shapes and some lines, and that was our first merchandise design. That came out of a need of, one, someone needing to do something for our band to create. Two, because I couldn't hold down a job while touring. We were on the road 24/7. And so I needed something to bring income in, something. And so I figured I could work on the road. It was hard, but I'd be in the van, tapping away on my laptop. Thankfully, my friend hacked Photoshop and gave that to me, and we started that process. And from there, it just it didn't snowball, but it just started getting momentum working with other bands, and my friends kept saying, and thankfully those friends were the ones hanging around at the time that were speaking into my world positively, saying, man, you should start a business with this stuff. And I'm going, no, start a business. And it took a couple of years until I'm like, cool, we'll start the business. And not we, me. And so that's how I've got to where I am. What you saw in the ladder video is basically what I do, simple line drawings, bold and minimal. But that's sort of my story at the end of my little challenges. Hopefully one of those will challenge you. And I meant to say cool here. Cool? Like, you're still with me? That's what I'm meaning. Wanted to get into questions and applications.